Okay. Hi, it's Kate Floss live, and as you know, we've been talking about this the Chatham Islands vessel that have been in a huge battle over over this vessel. Uh, we went into the court. We went into the court last year, and just opened up live. I don't know if anyone will come in. I should post it around on my thing. I think. Hang on, I think I can. Hang on, I think I can post this onto. Um, I think I can just post this um onto my Facebook. I think Jody. Yeah. So I've got Jody here with me, and I'm here, and we're talking about this Chatham Islands vessel that's been the subject of great controversy um, all around the um, all around the world, and we've been. Right, I've got. Try, I can share this, so I'll just copy that, and then I'll go onto my Facebook groups and wherever they are, and I will post it. Just put on there. Oh, I cannot. That'll do it. All right. Oh dear. Can you see me, Jody? All right. Turn that one off. Right, there you go. Right, you there, Jody, now? All right. So this video is to update everybody on what has been going on in the courts down on the Chatham Islands. Now, it's been a huge battle. We ended up, I ended up, as you all know, ended up getting thrown out of the Maryland court that they said that I was not the right colour. Is that right, Jody? And so we went in there, Jody, didn't we? We went in there. The eh? That is the greatest travesty. The greatest travesty out of all of this is that they've spread my name and our names across the newspapers of New Zealand. And what did they say? They said that we had gone into the court to stop them from excavating and that we had caused this problem. This is absolutely not true. They called us to the court. All we did was answer a newspaper article that said there's been a vessel discovered down on the Chatham Islands. Does anybody want to make a claim, or is anybody even interested? You only had to be interested. And three of us women had put in that we were interested in this vessel. I was very interested because of my family's history, and that land that the vessel sits on, that land was confiscated by Queen Victoria in 1842, and we never got that land back. And it was anyway. It's a long story that, but anyway, the first day. So the Moriori Trust and the Emi Trust had invited 7 people, 7 parties into the court. They invited us. They went to the court on the 8th of May in 2025. Now we're in April 2026. In May of 2025, the Moriori made application to the Maryland court for to gain ownership of this vessel, and then the Maryland court had sent a letter to all of us who we already were accepted as claimants, weren't we, Jody? Yep, we were accepted as claimants, right? And then after we got accepted as claimants, so that's why we were called in by them as parties, and they had set a date saying to us, do you have any opposition to our claim to this vessel? The Moriori asked us. And the most vocal person of that was me because of my family's history and the land confiscation. But 2 other people had come in as well, separately, not actually with me, separately, right? But we kind of had a similar story. So the very first day of court, the Maryland, their lawyer said there's a problem with jurisdiction because those 3 women have got a claim that this vessel is not a New Zealand Maori vessel. Now, this comes under this word. Everyone's going to have to understand this word, tonga taturu. Tonga taturu, the hell word, isn't it, Jody? It's the hell word. The hell word. Tonga taturu, right? Broad meaning. And so that includes Tonga taturu means any object that is an artifact that is 50 years old. It can be either built by Maori or used by New Zealand Maori, or if they even had anything to do with that object, it becomes tonga taturu. But here's the battle that I have put to the court is that if the vessel was built by Germanic peoples, and we're even looking at Thai as well nowadays, we're even looking at Thai now because I'm not allowed to publish it, but there has been artifacts found on there, and I live in Thailand, so I know Thailand very well. and there's been artifacts found on there that look to me to be Thai, and they're certainly Asian. There are other artifacts on there that are Germanic in nature, and this vessel required a great deal of engineering skill, and it's already been said in the court. They said it, not me. They said it in the court. It's already been said in the court that the engineering skill of the New Zealand Maori or even the Polynesian people was not enough to be able to build this vessel with all of these carvings and all of these things. So everyone can say something in the chat if you want. And anyway, so the first day of court, the Moriori, the lawyers for the Moriori had said, well, those three persons there are saying that this vessel has international aspects of it, and if that is the case, then they cannot come to this court. There's a jurisdictional matter. Would the what is the question? Well, I'll get to the question that I'm asking the court later, but there's a jurisdictional matter because in their stance, it's not Tonga Tuturu. It's not anything to do with Maori. It's not belonging to Maori or Moriori. So they said if that is the case, then they cannot come here. Well, why did they invite us there? Because, is that right, Jody? Like, why did they invite us there? Because they knew that we had said that. Is that right, Jody? Yeah. And I mean, it's the most obvious answer, isn't it? That it's a cross between the two of those things. And and anyway, so anyway, I ended up getting in a big battle, and then it got to the point where the court I had put in an injunction, right? And what was the injunction about? Well, I'll just read. The injunction was very, very simple injunction. And it only just says on the injunction, see, the reason why mine was so significant is because I was filing all my papers over here in Bangkok at the New Zealand Embassy. So once I filed it at the New Zealand Embassy, it became more significant because they could no longer hide what they were doing because it's been filed correctly and by affidavit at an international embassy. And so that's all on record over here. They can't hide it. Can they, Jody? So that brought a different element to it. So I filed in. Actually, I'll just rewind a wee bit. On the very first day of court, the judge said there may be jurisdictional issues, and so we're going to have a hearing for the jurisdictional issues on the 4th of July, 2025. And then they said, anybody that wants to talk about that, you come on in here and put in your memorandum of your views on that, on the jurisdiction, and why you think that this court has jurisdiction. Well, it became a battle from the outset, but it was really a stupid battle because they asked us to the court, so the jurisdiction of the court was with them. It didn't have anything to do with us. The only jurisdiction was that they asked us if we opposed their claim. So it doesn't mean that the judge is going to have to rule that it belongs to us. It only means that the judge would put it on the record that we opposed their claim because we said, well, we've got our own claim. And we could have gone to the white man's court with that, right? And so anyway, what happened next? So it was supposed to be on the 4th of July. Well, on the 4th of July, they just kept rolling it over and rolling it over and rolling it over, didn't they, Jody? The jurisdiction was never dealt with. So yeah, yeah, uh, we got called there on May 8th. We got May, June, July, 3 months. We're in the court, and all that time we've got lawyers filing memorandums, and we've got ministries filing memorandums. And I was the only one out of the three of us women. I was the only one that was able to answer to all of these memorandums. So I kind of became the star of the show, but it doesn't make it the other two women's role in all of this any less significant. But I was just the one that was able to handle it. And so ended up, uh, we filed many papers. So uh, what do we got? May, June, July, and then we and then they didn't deal with the jurisdiction, and then we ended up August, September. So we're 5 months, 5 months in the court, aren't we? And they're still saying, well, we're not going to let you speak in the court because we have not dealt with the jurisdictional matter, which was then the judge put it aside until February 2026. And I said, no, no, you will not continue to treat us like this. We want to speak. So I put in the injunction. And what did the injunction ask for? It said that to restrain, I'll read it here. We asked for an interim injunction, preservation order, restraining any person, because they had removed 500 objects had been removed. And when I was within the court, I was able to see that those objects were being destroyed. They were not being cared for correctly. They were deteriorating and they were being destroyed. And I'm saying don't take anything more out of the ground until you get proper professional people down there to care for it. That is why I put the injunction, only because they were not taking care of the 500 pieces. Those pieces are lost. It's even in the report. They have not photographed them. They've not photographed where they took it from the site, where they took it to. They've not, no, and they've put it in private containers. So I had said, just stop for a minute and sort out the legal side of this. I think I was well within my right. And actually, the fact of the matter is they put my name. They put my name on that application to the court. And if they were not behaving legally, I was liable to all of that, because my name's on it. So I said no, right? So I've asked them to restrain any person from removing, exporting, selling, disposing of, altering, repairing, cleaning, conserving, or dealing with the artifact that were in the containers. And I had put until the original I said until a court-appointed archaeologist. But I then went in, I actually changed that because I did a new injunction where I removed the court appointed because the court was agreeing with the archaeologist that they had. But anyway, I don't want to be talking about this too much, Jody, because that's all the old stuff, right? So since then, I got thrown out of the court, but Jody and the other lady, they remained in the court until February, but I got thrown out the court, and it was the best thing that the judge could have done. It was I'm very happy that he did that. It was the good thing that he did, because it gave me the ability to be able to go over to the High Court and appeal the failure of the injunction and get a process going over there, which worked out well. And I think it worked out well for everyone because the only one that could deal with that was the High Court. And but when I got to the High Court, I got in all sorts of problems with the registrars, and they have been having a field day. So finally, I ended up having to battle 3 registrars, and there was a media application as well, and also the Ministry of Culture as well, and Crown Law had come in from the government as well, and I was in battles with all of those separately, and I was having to write hundreds of documents to each of them. Finally, I said, I just said, I'm not going to deal with this. So I just combined it all together in one document. And I put in the Crimes Act and I accused them. I said, this is an obstruction of justice. This is in the public interest. This is a very serious case. And I asked them the question of law. That's right, Jody. The question of law is, what happens if it is both used by Maori, utilised by Maori, that the Maori have had a lot to do with it. However, it was built by foreigners and brought into New Zealand by foreigners, which is what I've said. I've said that the people of the Hanseatic states had come into New Zealand, top of the South Island, because that's where the woods come from. They had collected up the woods, which they would have needed permission by the chiefs. They took it back to Germany. It was built by the Germans, and then it was transported back to New Zealand. That is what my claim is, and I stand by that claim. However, there is a twist to that, because we've now found through the report that is not in the public that there's an artifact that may be a Thai artifact, and there's also a ship over here in Thailand called the Phanom Surin. And this Phanom Surin, it looks very similar, because I tell you why. And then there's another one over in Germany called the Bremen Cog. Now, all 3 of these vessels were discovered between 2012 and 2024, the 3 of them. There's actually one more called the Anaweka in Nelson as well. There's also one on Stewart Island. But anyway, these vessels were all discovered around about the same time. So all these archaeologists have been working now. It's questionable whether they've been working separately or whether they've been working together. But anyway, now I've got a bit lost there, Jody. Where am I going? So this Phanom Surin and this Bremen Cog and this Chatham Island vessel, the thing that stands out is that all 3 of these vessels have got square holes. Now, all of these squares are exactly the same size. So when something comes up as being exactly the same size, you know that a tool was used which was of the same size. It was not hand done, like hand chiseled, like they're trying to say. It could not have been, because if those squares were hand chiseled, they would have been different shapes. These shapes are little wee square holes for locking in pieces, right? There's no nails on any of these ships. There's no metal on any of these ships. So they were interlocutory pieces of wood using square lock holes. And it's on the Phanom Surin in Thailand. It's on the Bremen Cog over in Germany. And it's on this Chatham Island vessel. And so anyway, finally I did put in this document, and I brought in the Thai king. I brought in 4 Thai kings. So I'll see if I can remember the 4 Thai kings. Hang on, I've got it actually. I'll tell you the 4 Thai kings, because these Thai kings are going to be these Thai kings are going to be very significant to my case because they were all around at the same time that King William IV, during the time of King William IV, and during the time of Queen Victoria, these four Thai kings were in power, or except for one of them who is King Bumnibom, who's called the King of Kings. So he's passed away, but he's the modern king. He was in power the whole time that Queen Elizabeth was in power. King Bumnibom was in power. Now he's the one that wrote all of the penalties, and he wrote the I think it's used over in UNESCO, the case law. He's the one that did the constitution for artifacts that are found in Thailand, King Bumnibom. So that's why I put him in, because they had all the case law to match up with his constitution. And so this is used as a guideline over in UNESCO. And so New Zealand has no case law because New Zealand has never, ever in its history prosecuted anybody for stealing or damaging artifacts. And I think this is significant. So I had to use King Bumnibom, and I had to use the Thai case law to, they've gone and turned off my line to be updated. How could they? So they've gone and used the case law for King Bumnibom, right? Oh dear. So the just trying to get this. So the other king that I brought in was King Prad. I can't really say these words properly, but I'll try. King Prajahipok and Prince Damrong, and the last king that I brought in was King Nurasuan the Great. Well, King Nurasuan the Great was a king that fought in Ayutthaya. I don't want to talk too much because I don't want to get the Thai history wrong, so I'm not skilled in it, but I'm trying to learn. So anyway, I brought in these four. This king here, Nurasan, was an absolute king, and he was a great king. And so I brought in him the four Thai kings, and I tell you something, just a great spiritual thing occurred with me. And when I brought him in, bam, the whole thing has turned on its head, which is what we're here to talk about today, aren't we, Jodie? So we have received, so we want, what the main thing that we had asked for was the certificates. We wanted their certificates that they've been approved to, and they have never gotten them, and that was the complaint. Well, we've had notice today, haven't we? What are we going to start with? So, how about I'm going to start with the 21st of April, and then we'll go 24, and then we'll go 29, shall we? So we'll keep everybody on their toes. So the first one was, so this battle of whether it's Tonga Tuturu, or the question to the court was, if it's both a Maori artifact and it's an international artifact, does the Maori Land Court have jurisdiction to deal with it if it's both of those things? Which I think was fair, isn't it? I can hear the birds, Jodie, tweeting. Okay. Oh, but I want you to talk sometimes, Jodie. All right, you butt in. All right, so we just got the letter. So all this time I'm filing documents, and And so on the 16th of the 8th, we have not been given these documents. So although this document here was sent to all of the parties on the 16th of April, myself and the other two women, we were not entitled to see any of. They withheld all of these documents from us because they said that the court's not jurisdiction, you're not got a party, right? So this first document said that we became aware of an archaeological report which is confidential and the public are not allowed to know about it. That archaeological report, it's very damning. In the report, I don't know how much I'm allowed to reveal, but I will just say that it's a draft report. But on that draft report, there is no scientific analysis. There's nothing, and the Ministry of Heritage has been asking. They will not accept this report until the scientific analysis have been produced. They've basically said it looks like a fourth grade. It looks like a fourth grade science essay. That's what they said it basically looks like. It's got no scientific evidence whatsoever. And so we had been asking for these certificates. Well, that draft report when was it supposed to be produced, Jody? When we were originally promised it in October. And then October 2025, we were promised it. And then they turned around and said, oh, we'll give it in February. Yeah, I think it was September and then rolled over to it was September because we had a court hearing. It was September, and it was rolled over to October. And then from October, it was rolled over to February. They said we absolutely, it's going to be done in February. Come February, they said it's going to be done in April. In April, they put in this draft report and they said, we cannot give you a timeline that it's ever going to be done. And so that's exactly right. They said, we're not going to be able to tell you if the scientific evidence, the archaeologist publicly on his own website, this is not from the draft report, the archaeologist has said that that the wood will not be tested. They're not going to scientifically test the wood. So why would an archaeologist do that? Why would he not want to be testing anything? So, so we finally get this letter that was sent to us after I brought in King Nurasuan from Thailand. I mentioned him. On that, I said to them, I have read the draft report and I have said that it's very disturbing, and I have said that, I think that this is not legal, what's going on. Well, I had to put that in on the 27th of April. On the 27th of April, Jody, because I'm not allowed to receive anything from the court, but Jody is allowed to receive it, and this is all public, so this is all in the public. And so I'm allowed to receive this. So I have received the court documents that are open to the public, and I received these on the 27th of April after I had put in my submission. And finally, we're going to be vindicated. I'm going to read it to you. So this is from Crown Law, which is the government entity. My thing's always sticking out. This is from Crown Law, and it says, the ministry is unable to provide an estimated date for a final report. So they said, could be never. the ministry. So this is Crown Law has come in as the legal speakers for the Ministry of Culture. So the Ministry of Culture goes through them, but this is the information does not come from Crown Law. The information comes from the Ministry of Culture, and that this is what they've conveyed to the Crown Law, who act as their legal counsel to make sure that they don't get themselves into trouble. And so the ministry has, following the direction of the court of 16th of April, reach out again, and that they're no longer using the archaeologist's name. They're now using the archaeologist's company. And why is that? Because it's the company that can be sued. Right? So they've reached out to the Sunrise Archaeology Company to try and progress the works. They're trying to get the scientific analyses and to ascertain a robust estimated date for completion of the report. Because, the report has, it's only a draft report, and I don't think they can use it. So a further update will be provided to the court when a response is received from Sunrise Archaeologists. Now, I'm just here to tell you, this archaeologist has never attended the court, not even once. That says something. Anything that he's put into the court has not been signed as an affidavit or as any kind of legal document. I mean, you could have taken anybody off the street and gotten them. I could have got one of my persons at my school to write a 250-word essay on the pieces of wood that have been found down there, and I could have put that to the court. It would be no different to what he's put in the court. Nothing that he's put in the court has been a legal, binding, firm document. So that says something. And so they've said, we're going to try and get that. They've said the Imi and Iwi with the Moriori have been working with them. And what they're saying is that they have expressed an expectation that the report should be completed before its public release. Well, this was clearly quite the problem here, because they're saying we want to use the report to further our claim, but we don't want the report released to the public because it's not complete. It's got no scientific analysis on it. So that's kind of hairy there, isn't it, Jody? Right, are you talking? You can talk now. The birds are gone. The birds are gone. So then, following that, on the 24th of April, now this whole time, I'm filing paper after paper after paper over in the High Court. I'm calling it the White Man's Court and the Brown Man's Court. So they're over in the Brown Man's Court trying to push the approval from this judge and this court to give them ownership of the vessel. I'm over in the White Man's Court trying to stop the excavation, stop everything until I've seen their certificates. I've seen their legal status. That's what I've been trying to do. Well, in the meantime, the Moriori Trust puts up an advertisement on their website saying that they're looking for a manager to manage the full excavation of this vessel. And my face went red. My face went red as a bull. Red as a bull with anger. That there must have been some backdoor agreement between someone that this excavation was going to continue without me or without us, the three women. And I really don't know, but I'm telling you, I went to the Thai temple. I ran across the Rama 7 bridge and the railway bridge, and I went there and I walked barefoot with the monks in the morning, and I prayed and prayed and prayed at this little temple thing. And I sent all of my things that were bothering me up to the 4 kings. I wrote to all 4 kings. And I'm telling you something, something just changed, because then we get a letter from the Maori Land Court, the Brown Man's Court. And we get this letter, and it says, in accordance with the 16th of April, where they said they didn't give any firm date, they're just gonna, oh yeah, we're gonna try and get this report done. The Crown Council filed the draft, this is from the judge. Crown Council filed on the 24th of April 2026. Crown Council filed the draft archaeological report and the Heritage New Zealand feedback, where Heritage New Zealand, I can't say too much, but sue me if you want, but Heritage New Zealand basically said it's like a grade 4 essay on there's nothing scientific about it. There's nothing. And the judge says, I have reviewed the documents, and he's given a direction. He says, I direct Crown Council to confirm on or before Tuesday the 5th of May whether the ministry is reserving its position on the status of the waka as a tongatuturu or a complete Maori artifact. I don't I don't think I don't think, Jody, it's true. I don't think that they can, because the lawyers of both sides throughout the hearing, I think I've got about 4, 5, 6 places where they have said the New Zealand Maori did not have the technology or the skill to complete these carvings that required extensive engineering knowledge. We're talking about the squares that have been cut, the interlocking. Yeah, the mini pyramids. Yeah, there's mini pyramids, like a whole section of mini pyramids. It would not have it had to have been done by a tool, didn't it, Jody? It, it's they're trying to say that they used stone. What's those stone things, Jody? With what's those stone things that the cavemen held? Those stones that are made into tools. High. Oh hell, can't remember it. The little chips of stone that they make it into a spear and things like that. Well, anyway, this cannot have been done by that. Absolutely not. These squares, the squares and the circles are the key. The squares on the Phanom Surin, the Bremen cog, and this one are the key, because all those squares are exactly the same size. So, 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 so he said you have to say that it's absolutely tongaturu, or it's absolutely not, or you absolutely reserve your position on that, which that's going to stop this thing in its tracks. Because I'm over in the white man's court saying that it may well be both. And I think it is both. And this has never happened before in New Zealand law. So that's been a big change. So hopefully we're going to get a firm answer then. Is it still reserving its position? What are the matters giving rise to the uncertainty? So what is it that's causing them to be uncertain. And what information is required, eh? For all of your not evidence that didn't have any evidence. And so what is cause and what information is required before deciding? Well, we already know the information. They need the scientific reports that the archaeologist is refusing to produce. Yeah, and that is what the Heritage Trust has asked for the scientific reports. But I don't know. They never should have called us. So we were right, Jody. We've been vindicated right there in that all of this should have been sorted way back in July 2025 when I had said to them, you need to sort this out before you move forward with any excavation or anything. Because we're stuck in this and we could not get out of it. We just stuck there, aren't we? And it was very hard on us, and they were just asking us to read thousands of pages, and I read every single one. I read every page, every mark, every notation. I read everything. The other ladies had kind of given up on it, but they knew that they've supported me. And when I've said, okay, I need just this little thing here, I need this, they've sent it to me, haven't you? But you were not able to read. There was just too much to read. Yeah, yeah. And I had a whole team down at my school, and I was just saying to them, "Hey, can you go to the Wikipedia and find out about this and write about it?" They were all these persons. They're just beautiful. They were writing essays for me for their English, and in those essays had loads of information that I had not known about. So I've got all of their books here with me. And so actually a lot of people don't know this, but because of these persons' essays that they were writing for me, I did not have to go and read all of that stuff. They did it as part of their project. And then I was able to glean from their, like, so they would do a 150-word essay, which is no different to what that stupid archaeologist did. And then I was able to glean from their essay the important information, and that just led me to whole pathways, and that's what led me to the Kings. That's what led me to the Phanom Surin. That's, even though actually it was White Mary that had sent me the Bremen Cob, but the Phanom Surin all area of the Germanic territories. So they were significant to help me with this. We're up to. So we better get this done. We're going to make this 1 hour. We've got 10 minutes left. So the next document we've received today, Jody, the Holy Grail of Grails. It's public. It's a Chambers minute, and we've not been told that it's out. Now, the sign comes up and it tells me that the connection. So I'm going to read what this judge has said since we brought in the King Narasuan. He says, on or before Friday, the 8th of May, could Crown Council please file the following? He wants to see the Archaeological Authority, which is what we had asked for from way back in the beginning, didn't we? All we wanted to see was the Archaeological Authority from the ministries that they had the authority to excavate, and that is all I had ever asked for. I had not asked for the stopping of the excavation. I have said, where is the authority that he has to excavate? Because we wanted to know the scope of that authority. And the judge has finally, on the 8th of May 2026, has gone full circle from the 8th of May 2025 to 8th of May 2026. They're asking for the archaeological authority that we have been asking for a whole year with Jody. And it is, and doesn't end there. They finally have said Maxwell J, who's the archaeologist, they want the interim report on Tui Creek Waka. So there must be another waka